Hey everybody, it's Ike and
Christine. Hi.
And today our special guest once again is
Bobby Garcia.
Chief Judge Garcia, retired chief and current judge. Welcome to episode 23. As you can see, we've been busy. It's Wednesday, we're isolated and we're taking social separation to the extreme. So today we're just going to talk to whatever the topic is. But first of all, we'd like to thank Larry Lawson from Indian River Hauntings. Great show yesterday, watched it. And also Chris Huff with Spirit Research Northeast. Both of them on YouTube. Excellent shows. Larry Lawson, awesome guy. Also a retired police officer. Check out his channel. All right, today for beer challenge. This beer was brought to us by retired police officer John Manhattan. Oh, a while back, we were still stockpiling beer. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing we were, see? Now we're all socially isolated and we have all the beer.
You're right.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, this beer is called Dab, or Dab. In German it's Dab. It's a German import. What'd you say, Bobby? It was 5%?
Yes, 5%.
5%! It's got a picture of some really friendly looking guy pointing at his beer in the front, so.
That would be German, I'm assuming.
Probably.
More than likely.
Well, let's give it a try.
Oh, that was insane.
Prost.
Prost.
Whoa.
It's not bad.
It's very comparable to the beer that I brought you, the other one. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's pretty good.
It's like a yeast flavor, huh?
Very much, yeah.
It's very easy.
It's very good. It's not an IPA, so it's good.
Yes, I very much agree with that.
It's not bad. I'll score that one a 7.
I give it a 7. It's good. It's a good drinkable beer.
7.
3 sevens.
Jackpot.
Yeah, that's a good beer.
Not bad. Also, shout out goes to Chief Orbina. Sticker. Check out his channel.
Oh.
On YouTube. Collects silver, just like many of us. And we know we've talked about silver before. Wards off evil spirits, kills vampires, it's bad for witches.
And werewolves.
And good for digestion.
Mm-hmm. And it's good to squirrel away during the coronavirus.
And it's really good for bullets.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
So today we're just going to chit-chat a little bit, since we can't really go out and actively investigate, even though we could probably investigate this house. 2 days ago, I was in one of the back rooms, and my wife had just left, and out of the corner of my eye, I see somebody walk past a window. And it startled me to the point where I was watering flowers. I put the water can down, and immediately went to the window and looked out, and there's nobody there. I thought it was my wife at first, but it wasn't her. That was the first real good apparition I've seen in years. That thing was there. It was really weird. And the following day, me and my wife were working outside, cleaning the place, and suddenly she drops what she's doing and she runs around the corner of the house because she just seen a woman wearing a white dress walk through our yard. And to look on her face, I mean, she just dropped what she was doing and she goes, "What the heck was that? Somebody in our yard."
Oh, wow.
And she runs over there and looks and she goes, "There's nobody there."
So would you attribute what you saw in the house at your mom?
You know, I don't think so. I'm not sure. I have no indication that my mom would be here. She was convinced this place was haunted.
Oh, prior to.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
me and Christine did some really good sessions in here before she passed, 2-3 years before she passed, and actually caught an EVP that said Sarah.
Yeah.
None of us know Sarah. And also had a weird light anomaly that came out of her headboard and shot off into the closet. One of our episodes where we're in the closet, that's the closet it shot into, and that's kind of why we wanted to investigate the closet. But she was convinced there's ghosts in this house. Mm-hmm. My mom was very open-minded, and she says, "Well, I don't bother them, and they don't bother me."
Yeah.
Because I used to tell her, I said, "You want to come here and like ghost bust the place and see what's going on, who they are?" And she's like, No.
Don't bother them.
Yeah, they don't bother me, I don't bother them, we just ignore each other. But she was convinced.
Very cool.
And the question is, though, why are there spirits in this house? The house, they bought brand new.
It could be the land.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, this is really open. And
Now, speaking to Chris Hoff, the guy from England, who's a medium, or I think he has sight. He told me that he thinks there was a dispute over this property or on this property back in the mid to late 1800s about horses and water or something about that.
Yeah.
Right.
And he thinks that's why this place is active. I'm like, maybe.
It's possible.
You know, in the Southwest and the West, it's really hard to get records in history because back in those days, people didn't keep records.
Right.
They moved out here and just did what they had to do, and if you died, they buried you. There's not a whole lot of records out here, so it's possible. You definitely feel something in this house once in a while, and here lately, activity's been up. In the last week or so, activity's been up in this house. Not just at his house, but in general. I think maybe it's everybody's heightened senses.
I was going to say, what would you attribute that to? I mean, is it everything that's been going on? I mean, is it
angst? I think there's a billion people all really anxious and stuff. Maybe that's driving or feeding something. I don't know, but it feels that way.
Interesting. That's quite interesting.
Did you see our show at Mineshaft?
I did.
That was really cool, and those EVPs
were quite prevalent. Yeah, you can certainly hear those. That was very, very cool. I commented that.
And we had no clue that was really happening. You know, we got there after we hiked there, and it was like, nice place. It's comfy. I don't feel anything bad. But there was a lot of activity there. You know, whenever that mine was open, I mean,
sure.
There was stuff happening there. But
I'm really curious when you review this and edit it and look at it and stuff like that, if there's anything in here that it's going on right now. You know?
Always a possibility.
I hope so. We invite you if you're out there and if you're watching us right now, say something.
Or come knock on something. Yeah. Come knock a bottle off or something. Whatever makes you happy.
Drop something.
It's not my beer. No.
Don't touch my beer. Don't touch my
anything but the beer.
Don't touch my daub.
No dog touching. That's
not a good thing.
No.
Yeah, so the Mineshaft thing was pretty cool, and people say places that are haunted, sometimes you get an attachment to them. And you hear, many people have said that. I truly think I have an attachment to these damn mines. They draw me. There's no place like going out there in the middle of nowhere to a mineshaft, and I can almost feel, in my mind's eye, I can see the people there. It's so weird. I have an attachment to that place. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's nothing bad. I've had nothing, nothing followed me home and threatened me or.
What I found very interesting was when you offered him the whiskey and some gold.
Yeah.
That was really cool because it's something that was probably really close to them. They always drank the whiskey. They wanted the gold. That's why they were there. So yeah, it's pretty neat.
It was all about the gold. These people are hard people.
Right.
I mean, it's middle of nowhere, and injuries. I mean, it's so easy to get hurt mining and.
Right.
There's no help.
Right.
You get hurt, you're screwed.
Right. And the camera doesn't lie. I mean, especially when that little branch moved, there was no wind. Cool? That was pretty cool. I'm not a hardcore critic as far as the ghost stuff. I'd love to see that. I'd love to experience that. And I'd like to see that, but I never have.
I don't know how many people caught the footsteps, but if you put headphones on when you're listening to it, just before the branch moves, you can actually hear it crunch, crunch, crunch.
Oh, I didn't hear that, no.
And I'm like, and it's in sequence with the branch moving. And I didn't catch it while I was there. I caught it on review.
Right.
I'm talking and I hear crunch, 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 and then the branch moves. So it's like something walked in front of me and then brushed against that branch.
No, that was very neat. I enjoyed that very much. It's cool.
Pretty strange.
Mm-hmm. And your other one you did out at the little Air Force facility, that one kind of creeped me out. I mean, that one I was sitting there going, wow, I thought I was watching a little scary movie or something because it was kind of creepy. It was pretty cool.
That's a really neat place. It would have been really cool to see, 20, 30 years ago.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I bet.
Because there were so many buildings there. They had a laundry, they had a movie theater, they had, all kinds of stuff there.
Right.
It's just been totally, the Air Force gave it to the state of New Mexico, and the Road Highway Department, DOT, just stores half of their stuff out there. Mm-hmm. But it's been so vandalized, there's not a piece of wire or copper left to be found out there. I mean, just over the years, just stripped everything out of that place.
No, that one was probably one of my favorite episodes there because it gave me a feeling. I'm like, whoa,
it's creepy.
I can feel it.
There's definitely a creep factor in there. Mm-hmm. I tried. Once again, there's not a whole lot of history on that place. It was a radar station, and I can't remember the exact dates, but I think it closed. I want to say 62 or 59 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, New Mexico, they always have secrets. So who knows what that, because there was families living out there. It was huge. Whole families.
Yeah, if you look at it through Google Earth, you can see there was actually like housing developments off to the south side of it, where they had little cul-de-sacs. They had a main road and cul-de-sacs.
Yeah.
And there was probably 20 or 30 houses at one point along there.
And if you apply a little common sense to that thing, I mean, that's really not something I think that they would have radar people in the military and bring their whole families out there to let them live with that.
That is kind of different. Kind of weird.
Kind of different.
So who knows? what happened out there.
Right.
You know, it's
very cool.
That was a good episode. We enjoyed that one. Used a drone.
Yep. The drone almost didn't come back.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
And your UFO episodes, that one was also interesting. I mean, it really didn't catch nothing or see anything, but...
I have a really weird theory about UFOs, because I truly have seen at least 3 UFOs in my life. And I'm an aviation buff. I love airplanes. I paraglide stuff. This was nothing a conventional aircraft could ever do. All 3 of them that I've seen. And so I know there's something out there. Is it us with something really new technology? I don't know. But there's something out there that currently I don't know about.
Sure.
And there's something about UFOs, because I used to always, you know, every time you see a UFO video or picture, it's grainy, it's wiggly, it's wobbly, or it's out of focus.
Right.
It's annoying.
You say, why is it that every UFO picture is always out of focus because they're fake? We spent 3 trips. We went 3 times we went out UFO hunting. Twice we've seen anomalies in the sky, and we failed every time to capture it. And I don't have cheap equipment.
Right.
And we failed every time to capture it. 3 different cameras at one time.
That second time was really depressing.
So,
the fact they wouldn't focus on it.
What is going on there? Like, you know, if Bigfoot's real, why has nobody ever found one?
Right.
Where's the skeleton? And he had the perfect response. I love that. He goes, how many people have found a bear skeleton in the woods?
That's true.
Yeah. You know, I was a logger for 6 years. I've never seen a bear skeleton.
What about a mountain lion? Have you seen either?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Those are 2 animals.
What happens to those animals when they die?
That's
You know, where does a bear go? I've never seen a bear skeleton or a mountain lion skeleton. That's almost comparable to going to the ocean and taking a 5-gallon bucket and dumping it in, and then put it in your sink and go, seahorses don't exist.
You're right.
They're not real. They're made up.
Sure.
But I think, the more I think about it, the more I think that these creatures can either, they're interdimensional, they're slipping out of time. I've seen the footprints. We've seen the footprints.
Yep.
The people I've logged with.
Well, I mean,
Seen the footprints?
like animals that exist that we can actually tangibly say that they're mountain lions, for example.
Yeah.
In California, people have said, you know, they rarely see the mountain lions. And if you go out looking for them, don't get me wrong, hunters and stuff like that, I'm sure can get them with their dogs and stuff like that. But if they don't want to be seen, they're not going to be seen. You set up trail cams, maybe if you're fortunate, you'll catch a glimpse of one. But they're there. We know they're there because we've seen them, we've caught them, you know. But if you actually go out, I've heard that those things will stalk you
Yep.
at the end of the day. So you don't know they're there, but they're there.
Good luck finding a mountain lion. Like I said, 6 years in the woods, I've seen one mountain lion. And he ran across the road, and I only seen the back half. And I was up in the Hamas Mountains.
Right.
I come around a bend, and he was crossing the road at the time, and he was gone in a second.
Right.
Well, how many times have you seen a bear?
Probably 4 or 5 times.
It's not that many times, considering the amount of time you were
No, you spend, you know, bears too. They avoid humans.
Yeah.
But if you're a Sasquatch, you're really going to avoid humans.
Sure.
Because you're probably going to be a little smarter than the average bear.
Probably.
Or the human. Yeah, absolutely.
So to answer the question, do I believe in Sasquatch? I do. I don't know what it's about, but I know there's something weird out there, and I've known enough professional people that spend lifetimes in the woods logging, that have come across footprints, just giant-sized footprints in the snow that go on for miles. And
Sure. Well, I mean, anomalies like that are very hard to figure out. They really are. I mean, like, for example, take D.B. Cooper. They know for a fact that he hijacked a plane. They know for a fact that he got money. They know for a fact that he jumped out, but that's it. That's where it stops.
Yeah.
They had never seen the man. They never ID'd the man. There's been a number of movies sitting there saying, okay, we think this person was him, this person was, and it's possible, but no one's ever proved that.
No.
You know, so stuff like that is quite interesting. I think that grabs the attention of most people, whether they believe in the paranormal or Bigfoot or UFOs or whatever. That everyone has a niche that they want to figure out. You know, I think it's human nature. People want to know.
A lot of things we can't figure out.
Sure,
Yep.
absolutely.
As of right now, we can't figure out. I have a friend that lives out in Belen, and him and his son, he lives right down by the river. And he had a catfish pond real close to the river. And him and his son were going night fishing for catfish. And as they're walking down there, they sit down at the little pond, and his son looks up, and there's a creature across the pond in the tree line that he says is about 10 foot tall and had bright red eyes. Father stands up, he looks at it, and me and him used to go hunting together. You know, he's not a scaredy cat kind of guy. He sees it and he goes, oh shit. He grabs his son, who's like 6 years old, and they hightail it back to the house. And he called me the next day, and he goes, I don't know what it was. I couldn't see an outline, and it was an eye shine. It's like when you shine a light at it and it reflects back. He goes, we weren't shining any lights, you know. This thing had red eyes, it was moving, and I say, maybe it was like two birds sitting next to each other or something. He goes, no, they were moving together, and they walked off together.
Very cool.
I'm like, I said, what do you think it was? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, but I don't go down to the pond anymore unless I have a deer rifle with me. It scared the crap out of that guy.
Very cool.
So, weird stuff.
Well, and you have to understand as far as culture, like say here in New Mexico, for example, being a Hispanic male, the Hispanics understand one thing when it comes to stuff like that. It's called Llorona.
Yep.
Okay. They even made a movie of it, for God's sake. It's out recently. It's kind of cheesy. It's not really things.
Seen it.
But there's some truth to history. There is, especially lore, as far as people telling you stories about what happened, like the Llorona.
Passed on.
People say, okay, it's a story that was told to kids to keep them from getting in the river and drowning, or getting in out of trouble, coming in late, but stuff like that. But that's pretty cool. And I think that has been going on for the longest time. As far as Bigfoot, as far as Loch Ness Monster, as far as stuff like that. I think there's stories, sometimes they're embellished, sometimes you have to understand it gets passed from person to person, or family, culture. And it gets changed. Absolutely, absolutely.
Change a little bit.
It's like a game of telephone.
But it always has a foundation. But
there's always a snippet of truth in that whole thing. There always is.
Yeah.
Whether you want to believe
Urban
it.
legends.
Absolutely.
There's tons of them.
Yeah. I'll give you a nice little thing for maybe a future thing. I'm from Tucumcari, New Mexico originally. There's some stuff out there. There's a canal that runs through the city, and there was some stories about finding goat prints near the canal. I'll run that by you one of these days, and we'll go from future there. But that's pretty cool. Just stuff like that. I mean, lore and stories told by generation to generation is just very interesting to me. I think I find that more interesting than you say a UFO, because I've never seen one. But I mean, for me, that's
there's a little vision of truth to every one of those folklores or lores,
Oh yeah, I'm sure you even have them, as a German in Germany.
Well, think of it this way: probably 80% of all fairy tales originate from Germany.
Right.
Hansel and Gretel, Snow White. Those are all German stories. Right. So those people are really storytellers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They have a huge, long history. Grumpus.
Yes.
They're all famous now. I remember as a child, it's December 6th is St. Nicholas Day, and Santa Claus and Grumpus come to your house. And Santa Claus is dressed like Santa Claus, and Grumpus just wears a big old brown like robe, giant cane. He looks grumpy as hell. And they come into your house, and they want to see the kids. And St. Nicholas says, "You've been good or bad? If not, Grumpus is going to take your ass." And you're like, "Oh, I've been good. This was 1975.
Wow, very cool.
So Grumpus goes way back. Of course, now Hollywood has turned him into this demonic goat man that jumps off roofs and stuff. But yeah, German folklore is crazy.
Very neat.
And there's still so much, kind of like the Hispanics out here. I grew up in the country in Europe, in Germany, and you can still see the influence of paganism, even though the majority of people are Catholic down there.
Right.
But they still practice a lot of paganism. I clearly remember my grandma, who was, when I was 10, she was probably 70 something. And my sister had a wart on her hand. And my grandma came by to visit on a Sunday, and my sister shows it to my grandma. And I'm just listening to them talk. And my grandma says, well, you need to pull out some of your hair, tie a knot in it, and you have to bury it in a moist place on a moonlit night, on a full moon night. My sister was like, yeah. And I didn't give it a second thought. It's grandma.
Right.
But now when you look back at that, what is that? That's freaking witchcraft. Right. That's paganism at its finest.
Absolutely.
What's your wart got to do with your hair and a full moon in a moist place? Right. That's
interesting.
And as cops, I don't know if you've experienced it as cops, but a lot of the mountain communities out here that I've gone to that had, deaths, there's a lot of weird rituals and customs still involved. Like the OMI can't remove the body until every family member can say goodbye to the body before it gets bagged. I remember being at a scene in a mountain town for probably 4 hours one time. They wouldn't let us take the body. And it was like a young lady, she was mid-30s, I think, that passed. But family members were coming from 100 miles away. And the OMI, we know who I'm talking about.
Right.
He says, nope, can't do anything. And as law enforcement, we didn't have to stay there. It was like, your baby now, But just out of a courtesy to him, because those communities can be a little rough.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially when dead people are involved. So we stayed there. We probably stayed there for 4 hours, me and the state police officer. and just so family members could come in and say goodbye.
Interesting.
And I was talking to one of the family members. Now, what's this all about? And their custom is that the body can't be moved from the point where they passed until they said their farewells and everything else. So it can't be put in a body bag or anything like that. I'm like, never heard that before.
Quite interesting.
Something new.
Very cool.
Yep.
As far as law enforcement stories go, those things are. I think you can do it long enough as you and I did, obviously, but if you do it that long, you're going to run into a lot of interesting things, to say the least. And everyone's seen them, even cops, younger than us, that have not been doing this job very long, have seen them. But again, when you first started doing this series, I understood what you were saying, that there's a stigma to police officers not wanting to believe or see stuff like that. And that's true. It really is, But we've seen some pretty interesting things. And I think, fortunately for your fans out there, and for me too, because I am a fan of your show, there'll always be stories that
not just a fan, but a frequent guest now.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you.
But yeah, the police world, I wasn't joking when I said the sheriff on one of my episodes. I'll tell you, when the sheriff tells me that I need to get my head straightened out or he's going to take me to a psych. All because I asked him, like, hey boss, is this place haunted? That's all I said. And he got dead serious, got right in my face, and he says, you say that again, I will have you repsyched.
Right.
I'm like, and I was like a 1-year cop. I'm like, I need my job. Never ever said anything to him again.
Right. Well, there's two sides to that. Was he just being a stoic old sheriff, or was he being somebody that was concerned about you riling up spirits there in his
who knows?
Sheriff's department?
I think a lot of people that are like him are really scared of the other side, and they'd rather not. I don't want to hear it. Leave me alone. I don't want to know. I've met many people like that, and then those people, you're probably not going to change their mind.
Right.
You could have an apparition right in front of them, and they're like, explain it off. That's their loss.
Yeah, no doubt. But when I first moved here to New Moriarty, or Torrance County, it was back in '94, I believe it was. People were always telling me stories about the sheriff's department. They always said stuff like that. There was two things that I knew: the sheriff's department was haunted, and Mountain Air Police Department was haunted. So those are two things that I was told about here, and so I do know. Now, was the sheriff's department creepy? Oh, absolutely. Did I ever see anything? No. Did I ever hear anything? Oh, yeah. I've heard a lot of stuff at that sheriff's department, because we used to have to take our prisoners there to do the breath machine there. For early on, and you'd hear noises. I mean, legit noises in that thing. You're sitting there going, well, I'm not alone. I'm with the prisoner, so I got to get out of here.
That is one department where I've actually encountered like a black spirit, because I don't believe in like demonic. If you believe in demonic, then you're going to have to believe in angels and the whole heaven and hell thing. And
right.
I think there's much more in that. I think there's positive energy, negative energy. I think there's black energy, people that are just, if you died being an asshole, you're probably still an asshole in the afterlife. And if you died as a good person, you're probably a good person in the afterlife. There was something at the SO that followed me home, and it was definitely not a happy camper. Because I've told the story, episode 4 or 3, I think it is, but this guy came into my dream. At the same time, my dog collapsed from a seizure, which he'd never done before. I had to go to a doctor twice because I got strep right afterwards.
Wow. And
it was just super bad. And some of the stuff I left out of these stories because I didn't know how well this channel was going to do, so I didn't want to bore somebody with a long-ass story. But when I returned back to work, I was out for probably 3 days. It covered the weekend, so it was like 5 days total. So when I returned back to work, I walk into the sheriff's department. It's like 10 o'clock at night, and the whole atmosphere had changed. And I'm like, this place don't feel the same. It's warm. I'm not scared. I don't have any tingling sensation or anything. I'm doing a report, and my partner walks in. I'm like, he asks me, he goes, what'd you do? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he goes, this place feels different. I'm like, I didn't do anything. We had a bail bonds person, an elderly lady that she was actually a nun for a while in her younger days.
Oh, I'm familiar with you.
And then her sister got killed in a domestic violence incident. She became very spiritual and religious.
Sure.
And she had keys to the sheriff's department, and at night she would go in there and do her bonding paperwork. Well, maybe once or twice a week you'd see her in there, and she'd spend an hour in there filling out her bonding paperwork to bond somebody out. Super cool, nice old lady. And but she had told me she was a nun and told me a story about her sister getting killed in a DV incident with her ex-husband and all that stuff. So I smelled a rat. I was always inquisitive back then already in the paranormal. And I'm like, there's something happened, and I don't think it was the dream that changed this place.
Right.
Something drastically changed. So the following week, this is professional. Oh. Hello. We're on camera.
It's Mom.
What?
Okay. Do you want pizza for dinner?
Do you want a pizza?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Will I bring it?
Yes.
Pizza's the best.
Okay.
Bye.
I'll let you go. Bye.
Okay.
Does it make me a little struggling?
3, 2. Oh yeah. Anyway, sorry about the interruption. It was an important phone call. When you're socially isolated, you have to take all phone calls. That's a rule she made up. So anyway, I smelled a rat because the place just felt super warm and comfortable. And like the following week, maybe it was towards the end of the week, I run into this bail bonds lady. I'm like, hey, let me give you a fake name, Mary. I say, hey, Mary, come here. And she goes, what's up? And I'm like, did you do something to this place? Because I know she used to be a nun. And she goes, what are you talking about? And I'm like, no, don't play dumb with me. You did something. She goes, you know there's ghosts in here. And at first she's like, no, there's not. Why would you even say something like that? And I'm like, come on, it's just between you and me. Well, she tells me while I was out sick that she was in there bonding somebody out. And she was the only one in the building when the cell door slammed shut and she heard a bunch of talking. And she knew there was nobody there. She hightailed it out. This lady was like 65, 70 at the time. She hightailed it out the back door, got her husband, came back, and blessed the place. Being the Catholic nun, she brought some blessed salt and holy water and splashed the place.
Nice.
And it had an effect. I felt it. No, I'm not religious, but whatever she did worked for about a week. For about a week, in a place you could walk in there, it was like nothing. After about a week, it came back. You could feel it just as sure as you would feel a cold breeze blowing on you.
Huh.
You know, so whatever she did lasted about a week. And I don't want to say her name because she's currently writing a book, and I'm supposed to be in her book with my story.
Oh.
And she's been working on this book forever. I don't know if she'll ever finish it. But she confided she had a lot of encounters at the sheriff's department. A lot more than we thought. And she always, being very religious and stuff, she would just kind of laugh at you and like, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. There's nothing going on here. But yeah, so there was.
So what would you attribute that to? That she blessed it, did what she had to do based on her faith and her beliefs. It was okay for a little bit based on what you saw, but it came back.
Yeah, it definitely came back.
Why?
I don't know, but it definitely came back, and it definitely had an effect when you blessed the place.
Huh.
And that was truly a dark, something not happy, and probably because if I think it is who it is, he was beat to death in one of the cells.
Sure.
So no doubt he's not happy. And 2 is me, being young and dumb. Me and my partner were taunting him like crazy.
Oh.
We were calling him names. We'd turn out the lights and put a piece of paper and a pencil out there and like, write something on my paper if you're really there. Sometimes the door would close. Sometimes electricity would go out. Sometimes the faucet in the bathroom would turn on. These honest to God facts. I mean, this place was so active. I've never had a place like that since. No, it was just, like I said, I refused to go there. Nobody would go there at night by themselves anymore. It was like standard operating procedure.
There's where you should do an EVP session. That would be my next thing. Ask the sheriff, can we come in here and do an EVP? Yeah, I'm sure he'll think you was a little weird, but it'd be cool.
Well, the sheriff said he'd come on one of our shows. He has some good stories, native stories.
Oh, very cool, very cool.
Bonus?
Yeah, he has some really fantastic stories from up in Dulce.
Yeah.
And Dulce is also, we were supposedly underground.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds
air bases, all kinds.
Where exactly is Dulce?
North by Chama.
Yeah. Yeah, we weren't too far from it. And we used to log up there when I was logging on the reservation, and weird stuff. See weird stuff.
Quite interesting.
Weird stuff. So, what else you got, Tina?
Me?
Yeah, you.
I got nothing.
You have to have something.
Are you ready to be deployed?
Yeah.
So let me ask you.
My stories. I want to see.
There we go.
I want people.
You've experienced nothing.
No, I'm not around people.
No, experienced ghosts or stuff.
No,
Oh, you mean outside of what we've experienced?
She got scratched.
Yeah, I've
See, then you have something. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't think that you actually experienced anything. You got scratched.
Yeah.
Yeah, on multiple occasions I've been scratched. The bottom house, when we still had it, had a spirit that hated me. When I would go in there, I remember I'd feel really sick to the point where I'd want to throw up just nonstop.
Wow.
And then when I'd come out of the house, it was like slowly getting better. There's several instances where I'd walk down to the bottom house and I just had scratches all over me.
Huh.
Yeah. Outside of that,
The time he got scratched on her back in his classic, just like you see on all the TV shows.
Do we still have the picture of that?
3, I may have a picture, yeah. 3 scratches right down her back.
Yeah, that was
She's sitting
scary.
in her chair, I'm sitting on my couch, we're watching TV, it's nighttime.
Yep.
And she goes, Dad, my back's real hard. What's going on with my back? She picks up her shirt and there's like 3 scratches
I thought
down
it was
her
a
back.
bug bite initially, like a centipede bite or something like that. It was super hot. And we don't know what caused that. It was just out of the blue. I wasn't messing with anything. I don't really count ghosts. I'm not like Mr. Annoy the Ghost over here. I don't play those games.
We had something play a note on our piano one time.
We had one time our guitar went flying off of the wall and hit the ground. Scared me.
Really?
Yeah.
TV turned on twice.
Wow.
That's all.
TV scared me.
That's all in our other house, and I think none of it scared me. It was actually kind of cool. All of it except for the scratching. When it started scratching, I told him that stuff needs to stop.
The guitar happened in the middle of the night, and that scared me awake.
It came off the wall and ended up in the center of the living room.
It went flying.
It's impossible. If the guitar came off the rack, would just.
It had to have landed like 12 feet away at least.
Wow.
That made no sense. Same with the TV turning on.
Yep.
I attribute that to when we first bought our gold claim.
Yep.
And we brought home a lot of ancient artifacts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like nails, horseshoes, pottery, like all kinds of things.
Yeah, and old ancient pottery stuff. So I think something came with us because the activity was really high for about 6 months.
Yep, and then it just kind of quieted it down.
Yeah, well, it's because Debbie, my wife, whenever she hears something, she goes hostile.
Yeah.
Get out of my house! You're not welcome here.
Every single time.
Get away! I'm like, why are you doing that?
It seems to work, though, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I will admit I still see a lot is our dogs. Like occasionally I'll be watching TV, I'll be sitting in his couch just sitting watching TV, and I'll see something come around the corner and look up, and it'll look just like Boo or Scooby or Tasha, and I'll look over and it's gone. I'll be walking through the house and I'll feel like something in front of me, and this is like a dog, because you know dogs love to be in front of you when they walk, you trip over them, and there won't be anything there. I'll see them come through the house, and it doesn't scare me or bother me. It makes me happy because to some degree I know they're still around, and that makes me happy.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've seen phantom dogs quite a bit out here.
Yeah, lots.
But like shadow, not like a full color.
I see full color at times.
I just like every once in a while I see something like walk by and I'm like, oh, okay.
I saw Boo yesterday.
Interesting.
Yeah. So very intuitive. I mean, we see a lot of stuff. Maybe it's just us because we're crazy, or
Well, they say that animals and children, little children,
little kids
can see, sense stuff more than us.
Yeah. Or the bottom house she mentioned. We got some really interesting EVPs down there, and I had one. We were walking down to it, and as we opened the gate, this was probably back in 2008 when I bought the place. Yeah. I don't know if you ever seen that place before I sold it, but it was.
I think once
it was a compound. It had all these different buildings and stuff. Some of these buildings were untouched since the 70s.
Yep.
You walk inside and still furnished with the 70s furniture. But anyway, opening the gate, I picked up an EVP. I had just turned the recorder on because we're going down there to catch EVPs. So I turned the recorder on before we got to the gate, and we're chit-chatting, and I opened up the gate, and then we walk inside, and as soon as I close the gate, a female voice, clear as day, says, Donna lies here. We don't know Donna, but the voice says Donna lies here. Why would we say that?
That's like a really
it made no sense at all.
Interesting.
And it was an EVP on a digital recorder, not a spirit box, so it wasn't a radio station. This was a recorder. And that same night, my sister was here from Florida, and we go into the living room area of the old house, and all the electricity's turned off to the house, so I had a flashlight. So we sit down on the couch and set the flashlight on the counter, and she starts asking questions. And that same female voice says, we are 18, I think. I don't know what it means, but the question was, how many of you are here? My sister asked this question.
Wow.
And the voice says, we are 18, I think. And it's the same female voice that says Donna lies here. Which, of course, drove me crazy. I went down probably 100 more times trying to catch that same EVP. And nothing.
We would often take dog walks just down to the valley and back up. We'd like walking our dogs. And he would turn his recorder on every single time. There was never really anything on it, except for the chicken. But the chicken was
The ghost chicken.
I love the ghost chicken. The ghost chicken is my favorite EVP ever.
But it's crazy that, because you can't replicate it. That's the principle behind science. You're supposed to be able to replicate it and stuff.
You tried it like 100 times.
You can sometimes.
And you just couldn't.
The EVP we caught at the first Mineshaft many years ago that said, help, kill me.
Is that when you had that stone thrown at you or something?
That was before that.
Oh, before that one, okay.
This is when we were first initially starting. We were just recording things for fun. And that's when our camera, that was the old Red one we had. It was like a $30 camera.
Yeah, it wouldn't boot up. I had my digital recorder running already. And I tried to get the video camera turned on. It wouldn't turn on. And I said, what the hell's wrong with this thing? I just charged it. And you said,
did you take the battery out?
Did you take the battery out and put it back in or something like that? Just female voice.
Right.
And most people can't hear the help. You need to have headphones, but probably half a second before kill me, it says help. It's like, help, kill me.
It's right when I'm speaking. It's speaking as well.
It's a female voice. And when we heard that, I got home and I was doing something. I was working in the shop and I had the digital recorder. I just to play it back and listen to it while I'm doing other stuff. That EVP jumped out. I mean, I'm doing something like, what the heck?
You can hear kill me
Went
very
back,
clearly.
played it back a bunch of times. I'm like, phew. So that drove me nuts. I had to go back out there and find out what happened. How many times have we been to that thing? Exact Mineshaft? 10 times?
I can't even count how many times we've been
Probably
up
10
there.
times.
Probably more than that.
Try to replicate the exact spot, the same situation, mess around with the cameras, ask questions. Who are you? I want you to talk to us.
There was one point we even went into the mine to try and see if that would help, and it didn't. Nothing came from it.
Is that the one that collapsed?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
But the mine's closed. BLM got up there and put a big giant metal grate in front of it and keep people out of it. But and once now we're on the subject of EVPs, electronic voice phenomena. If you ever catch one for yourself, it kind of changes you.
Yep.
Because it's not fake. You're not going to fake your own stuff.
Right.
And just the situation when you captured what was going on at the time. And it's really weird. It's really eye-opening when you catch an EVP when you're out by yourself.
Interesting.
And it's hit or miss, and it's more miss than hit. You could probably do it 100 times, you probably catch an EVP twice.
Yep.
So
it's always when you least expect it.
Yeah, for us it is. A lot of people are the opposite. They get direct responses and stuff. We tend to catch more EVPs while we're setting up our equipment, or talking amongst each other.
Yep. When we're not expecting anything in the slightest.
When least expected is when we catch them.
Yep.
So, why is it that the human ear, just like we're talking right now, and like you said, we can't hear them when they say it, but equipment can pick it up, we can hear it, and you can hear it later?
I mean, it could be frequencies. We simply just don't hear the same things that, say, dogs might hear, or animals.
That is interesting. Yeah,
we don't have the best hearing.
That's true.
Well, there's infrasound.
My kids would disagree, but that's true. I have great hearing.
The whole spectrum of sound, we're like in the middle. There's sound above and below, but we can't hear. And equipment, this is going to be a heck of a lot more sensitive than my ear.
Oh, yeah.
So it's picking up stuff and sending it to the recorder right now.
We also We also have to keep in mind that your brain is hyper-focusing on things at a given point. Like right now, you're focusing on me speaking. You're not paying attention to background noise, like the trees whistling or something's going on in the background. Whereas when you have this, it's picking up everything at once, and you can focus on it.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was very nice. Thank you.
We appreciate
it. School has paid off.
Yeah. I knew military would help.
Stay in school, kids.
School is good.
No, EVPs are a trip, and they go way back. I think the first time I ever heard of an EVP is, you remember the Art Bell show?
Yes.
Coast to Coast with Art Bell, probably mid-'80s or something when he started. I used to love that show because that's about the time I was logging, and we spent a lot of times, 16-hour days sometimes. So you listen, his show was the thing to listen to, man. It was awesome. But I remember his first EVP show, and back then the belief was you could only catch EVPs on cassette tapes. Because they have electric or magnetic strip that records the sound.
Right.
They didn't think digital recorders would work. Now they're capturing them digital recorders, and is it progressing? Is something changing? I think it is.
Yeah. And speaking of that, that Art, he always had that couple. There was a certain couple, I think, that was always on there that would always go and do EVPs before it was even popular. Yeah. And if you sit there and you listen to the stories, which I think you did and I did, I mean, you can hear what they're saying. Because they'll, of course, they tell you prior to, say, this is what we think we hear, listen, see what you hear, and they hit the button, and you're like, I heard it. Now, was that implanted in my mind? Was that something? But I did hear it. I mean, you hear, but the strangest thing that they always say is they'll hear kids when there's no kids. Everybody that's there is an adult and stuff like that. And you can clearly hear that that's a child speaking, not an adult.
Or music, or humming.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, those are weird.
It's quite interesting, absolutely.
Different, what are EVPs? I don't know. Different dimensions. It's been proven that there's billions of dimensions now. I mean, science is pretty much on top of that now.
The multi-theory?
And it makes no sense, because in that aspect, there's a billion of us right now
Yeah.
doing the exact same thing, but just a little bit different.
Right.
You know,
And
so
some of those universes were completely
are
different.
we able to slip in between those?
Yeah.
Sometimes when we get an EVP or see a ghost, is that where the veil was thin? Or
Are they merging together maybe or something?
I remember reading a book years ago where somebody claims there's areas in this world, they call them thin areas, where the veil between the unknown and our dimension is the thinnest. Mount Everest is one of them.
Bermuda Triangle?
I don't know if that was on there, but like Stonehenge.
Yep.
It all lays across ley lines across this planet, and they say the ley lines are where the veil is the thinnest. You know, the Mount Everest is almost, especially in the older days now, Mount Everest is like a tourist attraction, but even 10 years ago, it was quite difficult to organize a trip and go up Mount Everest. And almost everybody that has ever climbed Mount Everest has a ghost story. There's a third man in the line theory. It's like, you know, they all rope each other off.
Sure.
So in case one falls, he doesn't haul ass, so everybody get down. There'd always be one unknown person on the back of the line.
Right.
And they're like, who is this guy? And you're like, who? There's nobody back there. There's just, almost everybody's climbed that mountain.
Well, there's a ton of bodies that are still up there.
And they say, you know, at first they said, right, it's hypoxia. You know, you're high altitude, you're gonna start seeing stuff.
Yeah, the lack of oxygen is probably a huge
Everybody
issue.
sees the same thing. That's like saying if you drink enough beers, we all have the same vision. You were going to do the same thing. No, and it wasn't hypoxia because many of them had oxygen, because most people that climb Everest use supplemental oxygen.
Don't they have like oxygen tanks or something
Yeah,
like that?
they have porters that drop off tanks along the route, and as you get higher above 14,000 feet, you just get to the station, you strap on a new tank, and get to the next station. So hypoxia is kind of out. And they also had these visions, even people on oxygen. It's always, they call it a third man in line, and he's never there. It's like somebody's hiking with you, but he's not there. And all these people have the same vision. So is there weird shit that happens?
Probably.
Hell yeah.
Quite interesting.
So, Chief, have you ever seen a spirit animal, like a ghost dog or anything?
I have heard, you know, and I think it was because my dog died and I missed it so much. I think I wanted to hear it, so I heard it. So, but I've never seen one. No, I've never seen a ghost. I've heard some interesting stuff, like I told you the last time I was here. I never seen anything.
At a young age, were you ever into the paranormal? Did you even think about it?
No, not really. I was raised Catholic, so I was kind of frowned upon, I think. So it was one of those things. But no, I did not. I didn't start getting interested in this till just, I don't know, maybe when I was in my 30s, I guess.
So, may I ask, did you grow up in a country house, old house, or anything like that?
No, we grew up in the city. I mean, at one time, you know, not to give you the history on my city, but I mean, at one time it was up to 15,000 population. So it was a pretty decent sized city for New Mexico. When I grew up, the population was that big. I mean, we had railroads and truckings and all that other stuff. So
That was a railroad town, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So no, it wasn't a small town. I guess by standards, that if you live in New York and stuff like that, it would. But,
Yeah.
but for here in New Mexico, no.
No. I was just curious because, you know, a lot of people that grow up in as kids, when they're really, really young and they're living in old houses, they see a lot of stuff.
Right.
I know I did.
Not that I can recall. I mean, there was some stories, you know, that I was told and stuff like that. And then maybe it was just the lore, just to scare the kids and stuff. But I can't say that.
No weird lights turning on and off, weird stuff like that.
Besides the flashlight story you told us.
Yeah. Well, no. I guess I can't say that I have. Like I said, as far as sound goes, I've seen a lot, or heard a lot of interesting stuff, because old houses, they creak, they moan, they settle, they do stuff like that, you know. And most often than not, you get a preconceived notion, like saying, hey, you want to go to this house? I heard 5 people died in there. You know, that's already implanted in your head. So you're going to go in there thinking, well, okay, I got a 1 in 5 shot to hear a ghost, I guess, but I don't know. But I've never seen anything. I've heard some interesting stuff, and I've been creeped out, you know, as a kid, as an adult. I've always, like, people go in there and say, we're going to go in this house, and there's old houses. There's always old houses. Everywhere there's old houses. So somebody finds one for sure, and you get kids doing stupid stuff that kids do, and you go in there and they tell you the story before you go in there. So I don't know, maybe you want to hear something, maybe you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. I also see the other side of the coin. I think it heightens your senses because you're already creeped out,
Yeah,
and maybe that opens the door to hear more things.
maybe it does. Yeah, you're
That's a fair
absolutely
point
I
for
agree
both of
with that.
those.
Absolutely. And then, of course, going to the Air Force for 4 years, coming out, and then getting into law enforcement. Law enforcement sees everything. And I don't think the normal plain Jane person out in the world doesn't understand that. We're privy to everything. We're the first ones called, we're the first ones there. We see dead people, we see live people, we see beaten people, we've seen everything.
You see everything under the sun.
Absolutely. So with that approach, when I got older in my years as a police officer, I always tried to apply common sense to everything, always. Whether, it's a death, whether it's a homicide, whether it's just crib death for kids, especially. We've had a couple of those, which are strange on themselves as far as an investigative standpoint. Those are kind of weird, but I don't know. I mean, I have known you for many, many, many years, and I think we've seen and heard stuff together, and it's just, how can you explain that? Well, I don't know.
I think every cop, if they're honest with themselves, a lot of them aren't. But if you're honest with yourself, you have encountered more than once stuff that you just can't explain.
Sure.
That goes without saying.
Absolutely.
One thing law enforcement did for me fairly early on is appreciate life.
Oh, yeah.
You realize life is pretty damn short for some people and a precious thing.
Sure.
And, it doesn't take a whole lot of dead bodies that are, in their mid-20s that you realize, like, wow, these people never got to be as old as me.
Sure.
So you really start appreciating life. That's one thing it did for me, for sure.
And as a cop, it truly does. We've seen monsters. There are truly monsters out in this world. We've seen evil.
Yeah.
Because there's people out there that are evil, that do stuff that a normal person just wouldn't do. Yeah, we've seen good. There's a lot of people out there who are just good and try and do what's best for everybody.
Yeah, probably more good than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. So, with that said, I think as far as the evil and the bad and the deaths and stuff that we've seen and the commingles, and you're trying to figure out what's going on, I think at some point, I think our minds are like, okay, this is the best answer for this whole situation. Because who knows? You've seen stuff I never have. I mean, we've all heard stuff, and it's interesting. But it's good to get two perspectives on the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why it's always good when you encounter something and you have somebody with you as a witness.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah, usually don't. Usually it's like, dang.
Right.
But I think there's a method behind that. There's a reason things are happening that way. My logical side would think, if there's a spirit world, surely by now we would have been able to make contact with them. But then my spiritual side says, well, the Native Americans made contact with the spirit world all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the old, the pagan people and the Wiccans, they contact the spirit world all the time. So yeah, that hasn't stopped.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Absolutely. Well, and look at history again. Like Harry Houdini.
Yeah.
He was big into the supernatural and all that stuff, and he never was successful in contacting his mom.
Yeah, and maybe it just wasn't in the cards for him. Look at Thomas Edison. He invented the record player to talk to the dead. It wasn't meant to play 20s.
Really? I did not know that.
He invented it to contact the dead. It was a machine to contact the dead.
Oh, very, very cool. I did not know that.
There was a huge spiritual movement, and I think it was like between 1910 and 1920, where mediums and psychics, and it was exploding in the United States.
Right. Well, there was a lot of criminals and charlatans and people that you're always unfortunately going to find those people.
I have never ever talked to a medium, but I got to say, Chris Hoff from Spirit Research Northeast. I don't know if you caught that or not, but the episode where me and Christina are in the closet.
Yeah.
He always responds to my videos very kindly. He loves them, so he says. And he asked me. He goes, "I really liked your show," and he says he sees things in his head, right?
Yeah.
And he says, did somebody hang themselves in that closet, or was there somebody nearby that had a hard time breathing? I'm like, holy crap. Yeah, my mom, 10 feet away, she literally drowned. That's how she died, For 2 days, all you heard was just labored, real heavy breathing, just like watery lung breathing. Chris hit that on the, I think that's the first time in my life ever where I've heard somebody tell me something like that,
that
could
was
predict
really
something
close.
that was accurate.
Very cool.
If that was a guess, that was a pretty damn good guess, Chris. Back to our heightened senses. Once again, I have a theory, which means absolutely nothing except for to me. But when you're scared, you have an adrenaline dump. You have heightened senses.
Sure.
And that's probably what you need to hear what our great million years ago grandparents used to hear. Because those guys lived in fear all the time.
Right.
They're always in fear of getting eaten by something or, getting hurt, breaking a leg and dying. Or these people lived in fear constantly. So they had super heightened senses.
Right.
I think we've lost that because now, we don't have to move if we don't want to.
I think we still have that. It's called fight or flight. I mean, that's the thing,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And since this is a cop show, by the way, I'll say, cops are heightened. They are, because we have to be.
You have to.
Because you're going into a situation where you have no earthly idea what's going on, and you're clearing a room or you're clearing a grocery store, for God's sakes. And you have to go, unless you have someone that's really good and you've always been with, And for the most part, all cops know the same procedures for searching a damn house. But you go in there, and it's scary because it's the unknown. But we hear stuff. We're always looking. Everything sees everybody. I mean, as far as cops in peripheral, you see something waver, where you turn. That's where your gun's going. That's where you're going.
Yep.
Yeah.
You always at a heightened state, and that's it's kind of you have to be when you're ghost hunting. I think if you're just going to walk in all nonchalant, and whatever it goes,
right,
you're probably not going to catch anything. But if you're like in a place where, if you're in a mausoleum, your sight and senses are going to be heightened because you're in a place where there's a bunch of dead people.
Right.
It's creepy.
So you're creeped out. Your senses are heightened. You have a little bit of adrenaline going on. You're probably going to hear something. So I think definitely there's something to that.
Very cool. And that's probably why dogs, have more heightened senses than we do, obviously. But I had a few dogs and stuff that kind of creeped me out because, you'd be sitting in a room or something like that, and in the other room they're sitting there growling, and you're like, what are you growling at?
I just said that on the other show last night. Every dog I've ever owned had a connection with the other side. They're always like, even Mr. Higgins. And he'll just stare at something in the living room like, what the heck are you looking at?
Higgins is creepy because he hyper focuses onto a certain spot in the room, and you'll be looking at it, and he will not turn away from it.
No.
Like you will tell him Higgins, and he will not turn. He will just keep staring at that spot.
Yeah, they definitely.
Yeah, like I said, animals and children. I mean, little babies.
Yeah, babies too, because they've been preconceived to what not to believe.
Right. Yeah, so they don't have our bad habits, so to speak.
Everything's real.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool.
I don't think I've seen anything when I was young. Even though I lived in some pretty creepy places. I think mine started when I was probably 8. I can think about 8 years old is when weird stuff. And that's about the time we moved to the country in Germany and lived in that old farmhouse.
Oh, when the visitor came?
Yeah, that house, that was another classic haunted house. There was absolutely no doubt. Everybody, the neighbors, everybody knew that our house was haunted.
That's creepy.
Yeah. There was nothing bad. It never really messed with us kids, but we were like super scared to go upstairs in the dark. There was door handles that would move, lights would turn on and off, stuff like that. But nothing malicious, nothing tried to hurt us. But then the history of that place, Jesus, who knows how old that spirit was.
Yeah.
The house itself was almost 300 years old.
Wow.
Wow.
So anyway, hope you enjoyed our little chit-chat session. It was about nothing in particular. Just we're doing a video while we're locked down. So special shout out, I've been forgetting, Martin Smith and Stacy Beller. Miss you guys. Please like and subscribe. Our channel's growing. I think we picked up 8 subscribers in the last 7 days. So that's freaking awesome. Lost one. You know what we do when we lose one, right?
Yep.
Bye. So anyway, thanks, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Awesome as always. You can come with us on one of our investigations.
Love to.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, I would.
And anything, Christine?
No.
All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.